Jeff Blashill divided the Blackhawks into two very distinctive teams today. NHL, AHL. Kevin Korchinski was on the AHL team. What does it mean? We'll find out next on CHGO Blackhawks. Happy Thursday. Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks podcast. I'm Jay Zawaski. That's Mario Tirabassi. Sarah's here running the show as well. Sarah, I have a confession for you. We have worked together for like 3 years, and I never say your last name because I'm not sure how to say it.
Victor.
That's what I thought, but I didn't want to say it wrong on the show after all these years, so I'm finally clearing the air. Victor.
I
will now say your last name.
I get it all the time. I get every version you've ever
thought of. I didn't know if it was Fichtger.
So that's the most common one I'll get.
Okay.
It's the CH. It's German. That's all I really know about it.
All right.
Yeah, I know my whole dad's side is mostly Italian and German, and then my mom's side is Irish, but obviously I have my last name from my father.
Victor. There it is. Now I know. See?
What's your vector, Victor?
It's Confession Thursday. Anybody else want to confess anything? We good?
Nah,
You're holding on to yours for now?
I'll hold on now.
All right.
In due time, you will learn my deepest, darkest secrets.
Ooh, spicy. That sounds like an off-season show. All right. Thanks for being with us. We've got a lot to get to today. So, as I said in the cold open, if you missed it, this team was very much divided into two groups today. There was the very definitive NHL team, the very definitive AHL team. Kevin Korchinski, Nolan Allen, Nick Lardis were probably the three most noteworthy on the AHL team. We also talked to Jeff Blashill today about implementing new systems, how he's going to approach the preseason, and we talked to Nick Lardis and Kevin Korchinski about adjusting to new systems. So lots of good stuff to get to. Before we do us a favor, hit that like button for us. Make sure you are subscribed to our YouTube page as well. If you're listening on the podcast, we love you. We appreciate you. Make sure you leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. So why don't we take a look at these rosters we saw today and kind of, it was very obvious from the start. This was your Team 2 roster, and they practiced first, which is not super. Korchinski, Fitzgerald, Toninato, Berezhnoi, Comesso, Allen, Cumby, Harding, Mast, Cates, Miziak, Lardis, Thompson, Weeks, Perrott, Ledwinski, Hayes. That sounds very much like the Rockford IceHogs.
Yeah, with Rockford's training camp opening up next week, that feels like the group that's going to be heading there eventually. And like you said, like Nolan Allen being there without having played in a game yet, Kevin Korchinski being there, Nick Lardis being there without having to play a game yet, felt a little premature. But then as you shift over to Team 1 and you look at the 24, 25 guys on that roster, hard to make an argument that any of them, at least through the first week and first game, shouldn't be there, Yeah. Like, I think you look at each guy there and you'd say, yeah, there's still reason for them to be battling for NHL spots. And I think you make the case still for a guy like Nolan Allen or a guy like Kevin Korchinski that, yeah, they should be still battling for NHL spots. It did feel a little early to be divvying up a team that was like, clearly this is the NHL group and clearly this is the AHL group. And we'll hear from Jeff Blashill and his explanation for it. But I think it's a reasonable explanation for why he did it. And he also lays out that some of those guys, probably the three that we're mentioning, are not necessarily out of the running for NHL spots. Like, it's not the next there's still 49 guys in camp. The next roster cut is not to get down to 25. Right? Like, there's still going to be rounds of cuts as camp goes on. Some guys that have been injured, you'd imagine, are still battling for a spot. Like Landon Slaggert is still day-to-day but injured. You'd imagine
Samuel Savoie is banged up.
Samuel Savoie, like AJ Spellacy looks like he's going to be back at practice tomorrow, and Blashill said that he should be available for the preseason game, so they want to fast track him, get him some work early. So yeah, I think it's early to say that one group is done.
Right.
But it was interesting to see that division and kind of see like, oh, okay, this is where, at least in the first thought, guys like Korchinski and Allen and Lardis. Lardis not as surprisingly, but Korchinski and Allen were already kind of on the outside of, the NHL group.
Well, so we first had the opportunity to talk to Kevin Korchinski. Mario and I cornered him aggressively. No, we talked to him at his stall in the locker today. And
he had to finish up his discussion about his fantasy football team.
Yes, he did.
And then we were able to talk with him, yeah.
Yeah, so here's what Kevin Korchinski had to say basically about the competition, and then I asked him basically flat out, like, what do you make about being on what looked like an AHL roster? What kind of feedback have you gotten personally from Jeff Blashill and the coaches?
Yeah, I think obviously it's a competition. They've kind of straight from the camp said that there's a lot of really good D in this that can make this team. So you're gonna have to earn your spot. So that's been the feedback, and also on the ice, just play my game, skate more. I think last game had a couple plays where maybe move my feet a bit more, join the rush more. But yeah, I guess watch video and we'll learn from it.
Well, you said it's not an excuse, but Blashill sort of mentioned like it's first game in a new system, and he could sort of see you guys like thinking on the ice. Were you feeling that a little bit?
Yeah, I think like obviously it's a lot different than systems we played in the past, but obviously preseason's the time to get the kinks out. So once regular season comes, we're good to go and firing on all cylinders. So, but yeah, overall, I think thinking part's gonna kind of, as time goes on, quickly leave. I think we'll be ready to go next game.
Do you read into anything about like which roster you're on today, or?
No, well, obviously, like we have just the main message. We got a lot of good D that are fighting for spots. So the main thing is just whatever group you're in, whatever game you're playing, play your hardest and leave a good impression.
Yeah. So you sort of said after that conversation that he said he didn't make too much out of it.
Yeah,
the response sort of was a more resigned feel. We're probably reading into it a little bit, but there was more of a resignation in that response than the others we had heard.
Yeah, I mean, far be it from anyone to overanalyze body language on the Blackhawks, but yeah, I mean, I think when we talked with Korchinski and brought up the like, hey, it's kind of seemed like you might have been with the AHL group, from having talked to him, over the past 2 seasons. You did kind of you can get a sense of how guys' moods are and how they are answering things. Sometimes more of, I'd say one guy that's a good way to read his mood is Jason Dickinson. I think there are times where you can talk to him and be like, get really good thought out answer. He's always going to give you a good thought out answer.
Yes, he will. Yes.
But sometimes it's more or less like, is he like happy to talk about this, or is he frustrated to talk about it? That he's a guy that's a little bit more easier to read. But with Korchinski, yeah, I mean, it did kind of feel like he had a sense of just like, yeah, I'm in that group and I'm battling to not be in that group. And I think this is a year where at the end of this season he's going to be an RFA, and he's a 7th overall pick that has a full season of NHL hockey under his belt, but since then, 8 games last season?
Yeah,
I think he played. It wasn't a lot. So he's a guy that is still young, 21 years old, still developing. We saw from day one to the end of last season.
Played 16 last year.
16. Okay,
yep.
That was a little bit more than I thought. But from day one to the end of last season, playing primarily with Rockford, he was an improved player. We saw improvement in his rookie year, but that was going from being, 19 years old to, kind of figuring out things at the professional level. And, as much I think as we are excited to see a lot of these young guys trying to grow at the NHL level as a 19, 20-year-old is very challenging.
Yeah, especially for defensemen. Yeah, I mean, like for defensemen, it takes longer in general. Duncan Keith played 2 full seasons at Norfolk and a year at Michigan State before going full-time NHL. And obviously it was a different time. There's no doubt about that. And I feel like I don't even think it's anecdotal. I think it's true that guys jump to the league more quickly now than they ever have before. But
it becomes the expectation for everybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's especially when we localize it, the Hawks have had a lot, even during the Bowman era, they had a lot of success with guys who either had 0 AHL time or very little AHL time and made the jump. Saad, DeBrincat, like these guys like pretty much were drafted and on the team very, very quickly, which is not the norm. Here's what I'll say about Korchinski. I still feel like the tools are there, the speed is there, the puck moving is there, that he is eventually going to turn into a good NHL player. I would like to see, because I do believe he is going back to Rockford, and I think he should. I want to see him absolutely dominate at the AHL level. Because, yes, I think he did get better. He looked better in his 16 games last year than he did, his rookie year. That's all well and good, but I'm not seeing big jumps from him. Whereas with some of the other guys, and again, these are forwards, you see bigger jumps made. I think even you look at Vlasic, you look at Kaiser. Kaiser made a big jump from his last demotion to his last call-up. Something really clicked with Wyatt Kaiser there. And again, big age difference, experience difference, all those sort of things. So it's different. I'm not giving up on Kevin Korchinski, but I really want to see from him this year a significant jump at the AHL level. And then, I think somebody mentioned in the chat, like someone's going to get hurt during the course of the year, and maybe Kevin Korchinski gets that first call up, and he never looks back. I hope that's what he does. I'm rooting for him. I like the kid, and he's got a skill set that a lot of these guys don't have.
Yeah, I think one thing too with Korchinski, and I should have asked him because it was in my head, and I was just like, sometimes you have questions kind of ready to go, and then you say, maybe another time.
Yeah.
But I should have asked him, in those first 2 years he's played now professionally, has he felt like maybe he's tried to do a bit too much as a 18, 19, 20-year-old? Like, is he just trying to be more than, I'm just an offensive guy? Like, is he trying to focus too much on being a two-way guy, being a defensive guy, and not just leaning into what makes him a special player? I think that is maybe something that could be with a lot of these young guys. Like, are they trying to be too much of the perfect player right away rather than just kind of leaning into what makes them a first-round pick or what makes them a highly regarded talent and kind of rounding out the game from there? Because it takes time for, whether you're a defenseman, a goalie, forward, whatever it is, it takes time for your full game to round out. There's very rarely a 19-year-old player that hits the ice and is prime Marian Hossa. Like, you can't, you almost never see that. So I wonder if that is maybe something that he's kind of learned as he's gone on, of like, not to take something from Matt Nagy, but like, be the player that you can be your best version of, and then maybe you can develop from there. Maybe then, lean into being more of that offensive risk taker, being a guy that skates the puck up the ice more often than not and can facilitate offensively. And then you grow your defensive game, you grow that two-way ability and kind of figure it out from there. I think that that's something that he can definitely use from the time he's been in Rockford. He might end up there again to start the season, and that's not a terrible thing. Rockford is a development ground under this regime of the Blackhawks, under Kyle Davidson. It's not a stashed away place where non-NHL players just go to be forgotten. Like, they're using the IceHogs as a true, like, let's get these guys developed. Let's get them ready to be pros so they can help the NHL team, not just, they're probably busts. Like, I think there's a lot different of a vision of the IceHogs and a purpose for them than there has been before. So,
well, let's hear. Jeff Blashill sort of clarified his thoughts on dividing the two teams today and gave a little insight as to how things might look coming up here.
I made a decision. I didn't originally have this. I made a decision to try to ramp it up a little bit to get to a group of guys that are NHL, and more guys that are competing for NHL jobs, and not necessarily spread the two teams out. With the exception that, as I said earlier, we have probably more good players in spots. So there were some guys in that second group that are still going to be competing for NHL jobs, and they may in fact be moved into that first group tomorrow. We got to go through the groups right now. So I definitely want to kind of get it to a spot to where it's guys that are competing for those NHL spots, and we may flip some guys in and out.
So there you have it. It's not necessarily definitive, I think. And as we sort of look at who might switch between those two teams here, you had Oliver Moore and Lucas Reichel looking on the outside looking in of line pairings today on the NHL team.
Yeah.
So maybe those guys get a look. Maybe Del Mastro moves over to the AHL side just for a look. Maybe they give Crevier some time over there because you do want to give Allen and Korchinski. And I think to make a decision after one preseason game that Nolan Allen didn't even play in would be a little bit foolish. So, but I like where it's heads at. We're going to get more on Jeff Blashill's philosophy on the preseason coming up in the next segment. In the meantime, do us a favor, hit that like button and stick around. We're going to be right back on CHGO Blackhawks. All right, let's be real for a second. You know, and I know, the world has gone soft, and even more offensive than that is the world of soft drinks has gone soft. Everything is sparkling water. Everything is acai something or other.
Guava.
Guava.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, we don't want that.
Nah.
No, you don't want kombucha.
Give me
Smells like a fart.
brown, bubbly cola.
That's right.
That's what I want.
How about a cola like RC Cola?
Sounds perfect.
Not a soft drink, just damn good cola. RC is the original cola that doesn't fold under the pressure. RC is an OG, you know that. In this world of spineless soft drinks, get yourself some RC. No trends, no gimmicks, no glow-ups. The same old RC since 1905. Do yourself a favor. Get some in time for this weekend's games. RC's the move for whatever you're doing. RC Cola is not a soft drink, just damn good cola.
Athletes, here's a question. Are you serious about leveling up your game?
No.
Well, put down the RC Cola because you just finished drinking it. Because the right coach is out there looking for you to bring you to a new level of your athleticism. And finding that coach is easy with Eye on the Ball. Doesn't matter if you're a kid just starting out or competing at the top level. You can sign up completely free at eyeontheball.net. Create your profile, search through coaches in your sport, and connect directly with one of them that's right for you. From soccer to swimming to baseball to basketball to football and hockey and many others, the coaches are out there for you. So, what are you waiting for? Your future coach could be one click away. Jump on today at eyeontheball.net. Again, that's eyeontheball.net. Find your coach and take your game to the next level. And coaches, super simple for you as well. Sign up and at eyeontheball.net and find the athletes looking for you to coach them up.
And all month long here at All City and CHGO, we are celebrating our Big Brothers, Big Sisters month of giving. You can donate by clicking the icon next to the Super Chat button there. You can do that right on the YouTube page. You can go to bbbs.org/allcity and donate there. But this week, we're really pushing folks to sign up to become bigs. Your money is great. Your money is greatly appreciated. Obviously, it goes a long way, even if it's $5. If everyone chipped in $5, it'd be a lot of money at the end of this show. But they need the volunteers. They need the bigs to help mentor these kids who need your help. So if you're interested in information, just go to the website, bbbs.org/allcity. Click that Get Involved tab for all the information you need. There's no commitment to checking it out, getting the info, seeing if you've got the schedule to make it work. If you're looking for a way to help in this world that is more chaotic than it's ever been, do something that feels good. Do something that helps people. Become a big at Big Brothers, Big Sisters, bbbs.org/allcity. And if you don't have the time to become a big, you got $5 to donate. Sacrifice that cup of coffee tomorrow morning. Sacrifice that pack of smokes tomorrow afternoon.
Which one do you think is easier to sacrifice?
Sacrifice both of them.
I want to
there you
shout
go.
out.
That's $10.
Speaking of Matt, speaking of $5, I want to shout out Matt, who is in our comments right now. He just donated $5. So thank you very
Awesome.
much.
There you go.
Yeah, we got until the end of the month. So
Love that.
again, instead
Thanks,
of
Matt.
super chatting or instead of buying that coffee,
going.
just send a little
Keep
donation.
those coming. Keep
Appreciate
them coming.
it.
We greatly appreciate it. Just to tie a little bow on the Korchinski thing, I don't know if anything has been fully determined. I do think, and I know that Blashill probably wouldn't say this either, but I do think he could be sending a bit of a message too, right? Like when you've got two pretty obviously divided rosters, to have Korchinski there, to have Allen there, but I think more specifically Korchinski, there's got to be a message received a little bit here. And I think that's kind of if I do have one criticism of Korchinski, and again, he's developing, it takes time, all those qualifiers, I want to see him like kind of take ownership and try to rip a job away from somebody. I see him being passive a lot. And we saw it in his rookie year where they basically committed an entire practice to kicking his ass to try to toughen him up a little bit. Yeah. If that happened to me, I mean, that's like a flat-out questioning of your manhood in front of the whole team. Like, that is very loud message.
It wasn't specifically him, but there were some players as a collective that were kind of coming together and needed to kind of learn the ropes, as they say in professional wrestling.
Get a little tougher in front of the net.
And Nick Foligno was at the head of
the development program,
the bullying.
Yes.
But I mean, that is something that, look, that was 2 seasons ago, and now we're seeing it in this training camp, where I think Jeff Blashill is trying to avoid having any situations like that where, you know, you're in a mid-season spot, and you have to say, is our team able to withstand NHL hockey? Like, you don't want to be questioning that. So I think with the tough practices that he's had, the high standard that he has set, the accountability and consequences for being sloppy in practice or being slow or getting things wrong, is setting that, like, that base level of, like, we have to be able to operate as an NHL team day in, day out, no questions asked. That's the base level that this team needs to be at. And doing that with a young team sets the tone and sets the message early that, like, hey, you have to be up to speed. It's whether it's being able to be conditioned, being able to be physically capable to handle it, and mentally capable to handle it, not only with, like, how tough the NHL season can be, the grind that it is, but also knowing what you're doing. Knowing where to be in drills, knowing where to be in the system, in practice, and not missing assignments, because if you miss assignments or your practice is not up to the standard it needs to be, how can the coaching staff then trust you to handle things in the game? So I think Blashill is setting that standard in the preseason, so that you're not in December saying, well, we got to change everything because these guys don't get it. I think he's trying to avoid that.
Yeah, I think so too, and I really want to see. I think, and again, I'm not trying to pick only on Korchinski, but I just feel like he's such a focal point of what's happening right now, because he's 7th overall pick, Kyle Davidson's first draft.
Yeah,
yada yada yada. Like, I want to see that dude play with a little more confidence, and I think we're going to get into it here about adjusting to the new system, learning how to play in a new system. And what Blashill mentioned after the game on Tuesday was, like, things were moving a little fast. Guys were not really caught up and getting caught up on that system. I think if Korchinski can do that and he can play with more confidence and play with more speed instead of thinking on the ice so much, like, just think you go to take a math test, right? You either studied or you didn't. And if you studied, you feel way more prepared. You're not stressing out. You get done with the test a lot faster. You get a better grade because you've done the work. You've put the work in. I want to see Korchinski get to that level of confidence in the system where he's able to just go out on the ice and do it. Use his instincts, and his instincts are a big part of why he was drafted. Yes, he's got the speed. Yes, he's got the skill, but the instincts were there too, and he put up those massive numbers in Seattle before he joined the NHL. It's there. It's there under the surface, and I guarantee you, if you went back and watched Seattle Thunderbirds games from 3 years ago, Kevin Korchinski would look like the most confident guy on the ice.
Right, yeah.
Because he knew he was great. He knew he had what it took to dominate. And I think he eventually will get there at the NHL level. Now, will he be a dominant, top pair defenseman? Probably not. But I think he will have the ability to take over games from time to time. So why don't we jump from the Rockford NHL thing and move into what we're talking about now is the adjustment to the systems. It's one of the other things we asked Kevin Korchinski about today at practice. We also talked to Nick Lardis. You'll hear from him too.
Obviously, it's a lot different than systems we played in the past, but obviously, preseason's the time to get the kinks out. So once regular season comes, we're good to go and firing on all cylinders. So, but yeah, overall, I think thinking part's gonna kind of, as time goes on, quickly leave. I think we'll be ready to go next game.
What are some of the differences that from system to system that are taking some time to kind of translate?
I think just like man on man. I think last year, like there was a play in the game where I think it was maybe when their offensive D had the puck in the corner, he skated up and he was at the blue line. And it was 3 high, and usually last year we'd hand that off to the winger and you'd fall back. And I started doing that, lost the momentum, and then I realized like we're playing man on man. I got to go back on him. So just like little hesitation things where like, is that my guy? Is that not my guy? But obviously I think man on man, once it kind of implements in all of our brains, takes the thinking out, grab a guy, win your battle. If everyone wins the battle, you're good to go.
Does it feel more like instinctual to play that way?
Yeah, I like it more. I think you can just act on instinct and make reads on where guys are going. You just focus on your guy. And obviously you got to help if a guy gets beat, but if everyone does their job, you're in a really good spot.
I hope people don't start getting PTSD like twitches hearing man on man, because the last time the Blackhawks were in a man on man system,
Yes.
It was under Jeremy Colleton, and Connor Murphy and Brent Seabrook were tasked with running that man on man system. But now I think this is more of a sophisticated man on man system, and it's a better skating group that can handle it. Yes, Connor Murphy is still here, but I think if you're tasking guys like Wyatt Kaiser and Sam Renzel and Artem Levshinov and Kevin Korchinski with sticking with players, they'll be able to handle it.
Yeah, the problem with Colleton wasn't that he used a man-to-man. It said he used a man-to-man with those guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no. those are big, lumbering defensemen. Now you've got some speed and skill up front and on the blue line that can handle that. And I think he's also Blashill will have the ability to change if things aren't working.
Yeah, that's the other big part of it,
yes, too. And has some respect to the players. All right, we also asked Nick Lardis about adjusting to new systems. Here's what he had to say.
I think you just go from other systems and that you've built in habits, just kind of erasing those a little bit and learning new systems. It's a little tough at the start, not knowing where to be in some situations, but it takes a couple practices and then you kind of feel the rhythm a little bit. So that's what I think we've done a good job at the last couple of days. But I think it's still going to take a little time for that. But it's been good.
All this to say, don't be shocked if this team looks a little discombobulated through the rest of the preseason.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is the time you want them to look like that, because they're still learning things. You don't want it to carry over into November and December. Like, hitting the ground running and hitting practices as hard as they have under Blashill is to make sure that the preseason is used for implementing all of this and getting used to it, so that you limit those mistakes of like getting used to those systems early in the season. You can feel like you're a little bit more settled in to it, and even for a guy like Korchinski, compared to Lardis, like Lardis wasn't here last year running what last year's systems was, but he was running something different in Brantford. And Korchinski has been in the organization for the last 2 years, and now is running something different, but running something that he prefers to play. So it really comes down to like what guys are coming from, what they're more comfortable with, and how it all flow. But I think across the board, most of the guys that we've talked to or heard from, almost all of them have sounded excited and comfortable with the changes that are being made. They just got to get used to them, rather than maybe being like, of course they're going to go with it because it's the system they're running, but maybe feeling like they might have to adjust a little bit more of their game. But I think a lot of the guys feel like this is going to work.
Yeah, definitely.
Once they get it down.
When we're going to post, as we do after every show when there's a practice, we're going to do the full Korchinski, the full Lardis, the full Blashill, And Lardis, I think you asked him, like, what are your impressions of the coaching staff? And he almost interrupted you, like, I love it. I love it. They're high intensity.
Yeah.
They demand a lot, like those sort of things. So they are on board. And we're going to hear next from Jeff Blashill, who gets a little more in depth about the complexity of the system. I know Ben Pope's got a big thing coming up on systems coming up this weekend, so keep an eye out for that. But you're going to hear from Jeff Blashill coming up next. Do us a favor, hit that like button, and let's get to 100 likes before we're back. We got, 88 right now? All right, and give those donations to bbbs.org/allcity or that donate button.
Yeah, shout
right
out.
here
Someone
on
did
your YouTube.
donate after we made our first announcement. It was anonymous, but thank you for the $5.
Yeah, I believe that was Young
think
Dangle
it
God.
was- yeah.
I
Was
believe.
it?
I think
Okay,
it
yeah,
was.
thank you.
Yes. We thank you for that. All right, back in 2, and then no more breaks the rest of the show on CHGO Blackhawks.
Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake is slashing prices on new cars and giving you big savings all month long. Come in today to shop the model year-end sales event and drive home with employee pricing on every new Chevrolet model. You can get $3,000 to $11,000 off MSRP, or you can check out their selection of over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. And with one of Chicagoland's largest Chevy inventories, you're sure to find the perfect vehicle for you. And as one of the top-selling Chevy dealers in the Midwest, they're able to keep their prices competitive, so you know you'll get a great deal. And with Ray's Price Promise, that lets you shop confidently because the price you see is the price you pay. Don't miss out on their model year-end sales event going on all month long for employee pricing on every new Chevrolet model. Shop Ray Chevrolet in Fox Lake or at raychevrolet.com. They've been serving the community since 1963. Together, let's drive.
And the Major League Baseball playoffs are almost here, and one of our teams is going. The other one is not.
Yeah, that's true.
If you want to go see the team that's going, check out our friends at Game Time. The Game Time app gives the advantage back to the fans. It's the hack for unlocking amazing tickets and experiences in a few taps. We love using Game Time anytime we need tickets to not just MLB games, NFL, NHL, concerts, theater, whatever you're looking for. They've got it. You can save even more when you choose a section and let Game Time choose the seats. How about tomorrow? You want to go see Cubs and Cardinals? More importantly, my wife's 103-year-old grandmother throwing out the first pitch.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, that's happening. You can get in the building for $32 for Cubs and Cardinals. Wave the Cardinals off to the golf course for the remainder of the fall. Bye, Cardinals. We won't see you in the playoffs. Take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, use code CHGO for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHGO for $20 off. Tap Ticket Go. Download the Game Time app today. And yes, Sarah, it is true that my wife's 103-year-old grandmother is throwing out the first pitch tomorrow.
That's
awesome.
amazing.
Grandma Cookie. So she, every year, Tom Dreesen, who was a friend of Frank Sinatra, the Rat Pack, was a star of that era, was babysat by my wife's grandma. So he brings her. They're both from the Dixmoor area. And every year he gets to throw the first pitch. He brings her with. She's on the field. So I'll tell you a little story. I've told the story about Grandma Cookie many times, but I'll tell it again. When the All-American Girls Pro Baseball League came around during World War II, they had the tryouts at Wrigley Field, just like in the movie A League of Their Own. She made a team. She was going to be on the Chicago Colleens, and her mother would not let her do it because her mother said women do not ride buses.
Oh, my goodness.
So she could have been a professional baseball player in the
What a
AAGP. Yeah, so that is a long regret of hers, but I'll tell you, in her retirement community in Florida, even at 103 years old, she dominates Sports Week. She's great at beanbag. She plays bocce and shuffleboard. To this day, she's incredible. She's an incredible
Let that
lady.
be a lesson to all women out there.
She says too.
Yeah.
She walks every day and plays cards every day, and she says playing cards every day keeps her mind sharp.
Yeah.
She plays rummy all the
great.
time. So if you're going to the Cubs game tomorrow, keep an eye out for Grandma Cookie. I don't know if they'll show her on the broadcast or not.
Does
but
she spell it Cookie?
her last name is Cook.
Oh,
so we call her
okay,
Cookie.
yeah.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good.
So
Nice.
it's going to be a good time. I'm going to be out there with the whole family, so it'll be awesome. So if you're going out to the Cubs game or you're watching it, keep an eye out for Grandma Cookie. She's an amazing lady.
And if I reach 103, I hope I'm just walking upright.
It's
To
unbelievable.
be able to throw out a pitch would be just
She is
awesome.
she is an amazing person, and it's like one of the honors of my life to just know her and pick her brain, and like she's sharp sharp as a tack and mobile, and she still drives. Like she's unreal. She's unbelievable.
That's cool.
So yeah, so play cards. This is your ad for Rummy. Play Rummy all the time.
I got solitaire
on the
and
first line for
blackjack
us?
on my phone. So,
Yeah. So it'll be a good time tomorrow. She's actually this year she's recovering from she broke her back 4 or 5 months ago, and she's been working her way back with this day in mind. I'm going to get to this game, and I'm going to be able to throw out the first pitch. So
that's awesome.
It's amazing. So look for that tomorrow at the Cubs game. Should be fun.
That's awesome.
All right, let's hear from Jeff Blashill. This is kind of chopped up where he started talking about implementing systems, how he's going to approach the preseason, but it starts with the question about his takeaways from the Detroit loss after watching it on film.
What were your takeaways from Tuesday's game once you rewatched everything?
I thought going into the game, I was a little bit concerned on how tired we were going to be based on not having taken a day off before that. So I think that was our 6th straight day after hard camp. I thought in the second and third period, we were slow to pucks. And I would say we were slow to pucks probably 2 reasons. One, we were thinking a lot, so that makes you slow, and we were a little bit tired. So then the game kind of, starts to go away from you or get away from you a little bit. And I thought Sodi was great. I thought in the first period when we had legs, we did some good stuff. It's a step, and it gave us an opportunity to watch some video on some areas and go out and practice it today, and we'll do the same thing tomorrow. That's what you want the exhibition games for. So I never probably put too much weight, and especially in the early ones. As you get closer to real hockey, they become more important.
Talk about the thinking part of it, and that's getting used to the new systems that you're implementing. In your past, what is the learning curve? Like, how long does that usually take, where it's a little more reactionary, not thinking?
Yeah, and that's, it really depends probably. We're going to have to do a really good job in these practices to get them to a point where they can just go play and not think. How long? I can't say that for sure. Probably D-zone has some definite differences. Neutral zone forecheck is definitely different. We hadn't really worked on special teams much, so that's probably not. It's different, but it's not necessarily part of it. I think forecheck, O-zone, those aren't way different. In the end, I think we'll be able to one of the things we try to do in practice is do routing drills where guys get to, I think if you watched the beginning of practice today, the second thing we did was come in, stop, go in. It's just working on getting to the routes and being able to play as a 5-man unit without having to think. So we're going to work hard towards getting there. What do we have, 2 weeks? So we got to be ready in 2 weeks.
Back to the learning curve on the systems. Does that change the way you're going to approach the preseason? You're going to try to get the NHL club more games on the ice than maybe some of the guys are headed to Rockford elsewhere?
Yeah, we'd like to, to a degree. The way the games are set up, you have 2 sets of back-to-back, and I'd like to avoid the back-to-backs for as many guys as I can. So we're kind of coming into this, depending on your age, you're playing somewhere between 4 and 3 exhibition games, so out of 6. So, which is a pretty good number. It gives them, if this was our 4th year together, Nick Foligno might only play 2, but he's probably going to play 3 because everything's new. Same with Connor Murphy, guys like that. So they're all probably playing 1 more than maybe in some cases we would, just to give them another game to kind of get to where we can hit the ground running against Florida.
You mentioned that the team was slower to get to the puck in those other 2 periods. I guess how important is it for you and the team to kind of find that fine line between, because this is a system faster than some of these players are used to. So how I guess how important to you is find that fine line between like playing consistently fast and having energy for the whole game.
I don't think we'll have a problem having energy, to be honest with you. I don't think it'll be an issue. You're not normally going to go 6 days of what we did and go play a hockey game. So I don't think that'll be an issue at all. I think there's times where, when you aren't connected, it feels like you're just kind of chasing the puck when you're not 5 guys connected, and that's what it felt like a lot. I thought the biggest issue was that we didn't break the puck out of our zone when we should have had the opportunities to break the puck out, and then in our D zone we had opportunities to we want to get kills in quadrants, and we let the puck out of that quadrant, so now you're into extended D zones, and anytime you get into extended D zones, I think it gets hard.
All right, there is Jeff Blashill. I like the fact that he is identifying we're going to need a little more time to get this system in place, and I want to give these veteran players maybe a game more than I typically would. Mm-hmm. He also said last week that when he was in Tampa and they implemented the new power play, it took him or penalty kill rather, it took him about a month
into the season.
Yeah, a month into the regular season to kind of find their legs there, and then ended up with the top penalty kill in hockey at the end of the year. So I do think early in the year we're going to see some significant growing pains here, not only because it's a new system and a new coach, but it's a lot of young guys who are going to be playing, their first full NHL seasons, or even maybe some of them their first NHL games, and adjusting to that too. So it could be the first little while we're going to preach patience. And I know it's hard because it feels like Hawks fans are running out of patience, which is totally understandable because it has been a long time since they've been competitive. But remember, the goal of this year is to see arrow-pointed up development on these young players that matter to the future. And don't get so hung up in the fact of, records. Yes, you want them to have a better record this year than last, but it's more about how the games look and how the important players look.
Yeah, I think that'll be a message throughout the year of, evaluating the team based off of the development of the guys that are going to be here longer term. But it is important, though. As much as we might overly focus on the young guys, the veteran impact on this team is still important because if they're not carrying their weight, that's going to affect the rest of the group, and vice versa. So everyone needs to be up to speed and up on the same page. So it makes sense that you would play the veteran guys maybe an extra game, so that they have more opportunity to play full pace scenarios and be able to, feel like that they're comfortable in the new system and don't just kind of wash it away. It's like, well, yeah, they're the veterans, so they only get to play one or two games. No, everyone needs to be able to feel comfortable heading into the year. So I'm fine with that. They're cutting the preseason down next season anyway. Good. So there's going to be less time for games where the roster is all the AHL players. So I'm completely fine with that. And yeah, I think as we go along through practices and the preseason, you want to see things start to feel a little bit more, just a little bit more fluid. A little bit, you want to see less. Okay, start stop.
Yeah,
get it right. Take a lap. You want to see less of that. I've seen more of that in this week plus of practice than all of at least the last 2 years.
I agree with that. Yeah.
So again, it goes back to the standard that the team is being held to. But as we go into now, this is week 2 of training camp. By this time on Monday, we're going to have half of the preseason games done. Through that next week, I want to see things be crisper. I want to see people in the right spots. I don't want to see sloppy drills. I don't want to see missed assignments in games. I would really like for it to be just way more cohesive than Tuesday's game looked. And as the personnel changes too, I think that'll change as well.
I think Blashill is, in that clip he talked about how he was a little concerned how tired the team would get as the game went on because it was 6 days of pretty intense practicing, then a game.
Yeah, he knew that they were going to be tired.
Yeah, that definitely caught up with them. And you get sense his frustration in the fact that, we've got 6 preseason games, but 4 of them are back-to-backs. Right. So I don't want to play anybody back-to-back if I can avoid it. So maybe there's guys they got to keep around longer than they would hope to, just to protect guys. It's not an ideal situation. I think they're making the best out of it they can. But let's get into practice a little bit today. And there was a question that someone had in the chat, said, what do we see in practice today that can translate to a game? The slingshot power play, I am going to have an aneurysm on this show. I am so tired of it.
You and me both.
I am so tired of it and look, I know teams use it. I know it's a very popular.
Well, when it works, it works.
Here's the thing. You've got Bedard, Bertuzzi, Teravainen, Nazar and Renzel struggling to get the puck in the zone. Because what happens is you do the slingshot, then you've got 4 Blackhawks at full speed trying to cross the blue line at the same time. Meanwhile, the penalty killers will say, sweet, we're going to meet you at the blue line and put our sticks out here, and you're not going to get past us. You're either going to turn the puck over, or you're going to be offsides, or, like, just dump it in and go get it.
The Blackhawks power play zone entry system is incredibly easy to defend. You set 3 defensemen up on the blue line, on the opposite blue line, to line up with the forwards, and then your forechecking forward on the penalty kill will meet the puck carrier and then play behind him, because they know almost robotically they are going to make the backwards pass, because it's almost instructed in that system to not carry the puck into the zone. There were times today, at least twice, where Sam Renzel carried the puck past the red line and then slowed down, turned around, and threw it all the way back into their zone. I know my hair is getting thin. If they run this power play system the entire season, which I'm sure they will, I'm going to be bald by the end of the year because I'm going to be ripping my hair out. It is, I just don't understand with the personnel that they have that you don't just carry the puck into the zone, or carry it to the red line and dump it and use those players that you have that have the speed to outrace the penalty killers into the corners and get to the puck first.
So here's the thing: if you want to slingshot it, right, and they've been using 2 forwards back for the slingshot, so it's not so obvious for the forechecker who's going to get it. Okay, it's one or the other.
But by the time pass is coming.
Yes, and by the time they get to center ice, you're going to be able to adjust and get to that guy. So then have the slingshot recipient dump it in, because you've got everybody going full speed to the blue line instead of and
then they
slowing down and waiting for you at the blue line. Then your feet are not moving, and if you can't carry it in yourself, then you've got nothing. And you're trying to break through literally 7 people.
It's so frustrating.
Standing at the blue line. No. If you're going to move up the ice in motion, have somebody dump it, and one of the 4, because guess what? You've got more men than the other team. That's what a power play is for those new at hockey. You should theoretically be able to get it, especially now that they've drafted so much speed. Connor Bedard is faster, better along the boards. Frank Nazar is fast, a willing board player. Lucas Reichel, fast, put a lot of work in the boards this offseason. Let's see what he's got. Burakovsky, fast, big. Mikheyev, fast, big. Use the talent you have. It's just so predictable and so easy to defend. And then even once they get in, they have trouble setting it up. I hate the way that it just slows everything down.
You also lose about 2 or 3 seconds by skating the puck up 3/4 of the way up the ice and then dumping it back into the defensive zone and then skating it back up again. It's frustrating. They're still using it. I really hope that they change that philosophy, but a lot of teams use it. A lot of teams are not built like the Blackhawks. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah. Well, and Kempen says, what would it take for the power play system to work? I mean, I would say better players, but the guys I just rattled off should be capable of entering the offensive zone on a power play.
Yeah. I would agree that the style of player and the profile of player that they have, especially on the power play, is someone that can go into board battles or win foot races. And I'd much rather, bet my money that Frank Nazar can win a foot race to a puck that's dumped in than, Connor Bedard is going to weave through 9 players and sticks to get into the offensive zone, which even then, when they do that and they get into the offensive zone, the person who gets into the zone first with the puck usually slows up and has to make a pass. They don't. It's not even like they're slingshotting so that they can get into a speed advantage and get ahead of everybody. It's just so that they can bring it in with speed. But then when they get in with speed, everyone enters the zone, and then it's a dead stop 10 feet into the zone. Then you have to step back, slow up, pass it back, and then you try and get set up, and it just I just really get frustrated by it. So
no, it is a frustrating.
Yeah, I hope the personnel that they use on the power play is more effective this year. Maybe it can be, but so far through practice, it's still a frustrating system.
And BJD and Hepcat sort of asks, we'll get to the Hepcats here in a second, but BJD says the pass back is too far back. And this is what we were sort of complaining about in Korchinski's rookie year. He would be the guy to carry it up, and he was almost slingshotting it because, like, now it is time to slingshot the puck.
Yeah.
It would turn around. Like, I think there's a time and a place to do it. And BJD reminds us, we had PD on, and he did a breakdown of the slingshot power play. Maybe we can put the link to that in the description of this podcast.
Try and find it, yeah.
So you can find it. It's really, really good. And he shows you what it's supposed to look like and how it's supposed to work. I think part of the problem is you've got young players executing it. It was Korchinski 2 years ago. Now it's Sam Renzel.
It was Seth Jones, who's like, he's a good defenseman offensively, but he's not like a rush defenseman guy.
But Jones had the confidence though and the ability to say, I'm not slingshotting it this time.
Yeah.
It is not contextually correct to slingshot it right now. It could be an option, but when you do it every time, the team defending you is like, cool. It's like, we're just going to stand here and wait.
It's drilled as this is a pass, not this is a pass. It's not like in football you hear the RPO, run pass option. It's drilled in hockey with this system that it is a pass. You carry it up and then you pass it. It's not like there were times in games last year where two defenders were behind the puck carrier before the slingshot pass was made. And they would still turn and look and try and make a pass. And I would, in the press box, be screaming under my breath about just carrying the puck up the ice. Because at that point, with two defenders behind you, and you're the puck carrier, you have a 3-on-2.
Yes.
Go!
You skate into an odd man rush.
Oh man, and there are.
But I mean, look, if the Hawks are in a situation, they're hell bent on the slingshot. It's going to be based on everything we've seen in practice so far. PP1 is Renzel. PP2 is Leshinov.
It might not be after today.
Well, I don't know.
He was having a rough day controlling the puck. It could just be a one day thing. Who knows? But going off of the preseason performance he had, where first part of the game was not great, he got better as the game went on, but it still was a tough game for him overall. Leshinov. Today's practice, there were a few times where he had to be told. Like, retold the drill, and then there were a lot of times where pucks are just bouncing off his stick, or he would fan pass. It was an off day for him.
Yeah, and I think the language barrier is something significant with him, too. So I would imagine that Dmitry Kuzmin will be one of the last cuts at this camp just to sort of help Levshon figure things out. But point being that if, let's say the Hawks get 4 power plays, and you've got, let's say you got 8 slingshot chances. If on 2 of those 8, they just take it, it's going to at least make the opponent think about you doing something different, as opposed to just like, they might as well just stand their arms folded at the blue line and be like, all right, here they come. Sticks out, everybody.
Yeah.
We're time to break it up. And it's inevitably going to get broken up. Or we can, by the way, the possibility exists that the Hawks just have the world's greatest penalty kill. That could be it.
Also true.
It could be that the system is great, but the Hawks penalty killers are so elite that those players I listed, Bedard, Teravainen, Bertuzzi, Nazar, Renzel, cannot solve for what Ilya Mikheyev is laying down.
Maybe. Hey, Ilya Mikheyev, start the Selke conversation.
They had him on the power play today on the second unit.
Good. He should be. I mean, again, we talk about guys who play with speed and can be someone who can go and retrieve a puck. He's a guy that can do it.
Yeah, that would be it'd be nice to see if it's not working, some different guys get opportunities. Yeah. It's
I just think I don't think they're going to change anything in the preseason. I think their power play would have to be woefully terrible for them to change anything, and I don't think it'll get to that point. I just think there will be a season-long frustration. We should get a chalkboard and keep tally of how many times per game that I lose my mind over the power play.
We need like an indicator.
It might be at least 2 per game.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. It's going to be frustrating. But again, they used it last year, and they had a pretty decent power play last year, percentage-wise.
At times.
So, okay. Hopefully the talent can overcome the system. And I remember, I think it was last year, I asked Connor Bedard about that. Like, do you love that? And he's like, seems fine to me. He kind of, pushed back on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, are you guys not experiencing what we're seeing?
I think when the perspective of the player is they believe in themselves to execute it. So I don't think guys are going to be as forward with it sucks. We're bad at it. They're not going to say that. Yeah. But I think too, once you get into that, when you're in that environment, you're saying, no, we're figuring it out. Or there is always some sort of self-belief. But from a bird's eye view, from a fan perspective, from watching games, watching practices, there are a lot of times where it's just you watch other teams, you're like, it doesn't look like this.
I often wonder about that though, because I feel like whatever team I cheer for or watch the most closely, all their games feel different. But I think it's because we watch it with a different eye.
Yeah, it could
then
be.
we're watching Chiefs and Rams, and it's all right, I'm not really invested either way, and I'm just kind of. Whereas if it's a Bears game, every play you're come on, this has to be the one. So I think you watch it with a different level of intensity and emotion. Or it's just that I've been a Chicago fan my whole life, and they are indeed all incompetent. And
that could also be true.
Not the Chicago Cubs. Not the Chicago Cubs.
Not the Chicago Cubs.
As of right now, they're not.
For a long
As of
time.
right now, or in 2016.
They still have time to prove that. But
I know you're younger
right
than
now,
me, Sarah, but for a long time, the Cubs were bad.
Oh, for a very long time they were.
Yes, for
I was very
long.
spoiled.
108 years.
Did you know
actually.
for 108 years they didn't win the World Series?
I always yell at my daughter, you were born in 2010. You've got 3 Hawks Stanley Cups and a Cubs World Series.
She was born in 2010.
Guess what? I have 3 Stanley Cups and 1 Cubs World Series in my life, too.
And a Super Bowl.
And a Super Bowl. That's exactly right.
Oh, see, I didn't get the Super Bowl.
And you never will.
And I probably never will. Yeah.
I was 7 when the Bears won the Super Bowl, and I remember that vividly.
I was -5.
That was like a cultural phenomenon. That is all. Think about
Super Bowl
this
shuffle.
week in Chicago.
Yeah.
Where the Bears destroyed the Cowboys. Caleb Williams had a great game. Then multiply that 16 times. You've also got a defense ripping people's heads off on a game-to-game basis. Mm-hmm. You've got the greatest running back to ever play the game. You have the most charismatic coach Chicago's ever had. That was such a... I don't know if we'll ever get anything like that in this town ever again.
Just culturally relevant.
Yes.
They're
still... you bring up Maury Buford, who was the 85 Bears punter. People the greatest Bears punter of all time. All the roster from top to bottom is held in high regard. There's a whole, nation of Bears fans that are they should have hired Jeff Fisher. He was an 85 Bear.
Yeah.
Did he do anything for him? Not really. But he was on there.
He was on that team.
He was on that team.
Very important part.
All right, I want to get back to the question we mentioned, and I already forgot the user's name. There it is, Hepcat. He said, regarding the slingshot, what differences are already noticeable in Blashill's system compared to last season? What adjustments have the players made, particularly after the season opener? So today, I think you said, the preseason opener. There's not a lot of, today was a lot of drills. They did some power play. They did some breakout passing. One drill they did was a 4-man breakout where every man had to touch the puck. Mm-hmm. But I think you're going to see the systemic stuff more when the regular season begins, because you do have probably, half the guys that are going to be playing these preseason games will not be here in 2 weeks.
Right.
So that's part of it. But I don't know. Have you seen anything noticeably I know the penalty kill looked rough in that preseason game, and that's what Blashill talked about was like, hey, if we're losing our spot, we're screwed. We can't lose our spot. So hopefully that's corrected. And look, the penalty kill looked great today. Everything's fixed. Just play the Hawks every day and you'll be fine.
Yeah, today was the penalty kills day. I mean, I think for as far as adjustments go, I don't think there's too much to take away from today. As far as like how much different it looked, I will say the physical intensity of today's practice was not as intense as the first week, and I think maybe there's a little bit of that reactionary to the team being gassed one period into a preseason game from how intense practice has been. But I think, tomorrow I think we'll get a sense of who the game group will be, and we'll get a sense of what they might focus on and how things will look going into Saturday's game. But I don't know. I think it's still. I don't think they're necessarily making tweaks and adjustments yet, reactionary off of a week and a game.
Nor should you.
I think the focus is still implementation and getting it right before you say scrap it. We got to make some changes.
Well, and remember, one of the things Jeff Blashill mentioned, I don't know if it was with us or during his presser, was one of the things he learned from his time in Detroit and then under John Cooper was like, don't try to change everything all the time if things are not going right in a short term. To change the way to change his philosophy on what the 25-26 Blackhawks should do, style-wise, system-wise, etc., to think that should change after one lousy preseason game would be crazy. Like, I think we've got to give this thing time. I think he has learned that lesson. He's got to give things time when it comes to, line mates and lineups and rosters and all that stuff, as well as systems. So we'll see. Something to keep an eye on as the year goes on. But I do think, and it sounds like Blashill seems to think, that the first couple weeks of the season could be a little shaky.
Yeah, probably. I think he's being realistic with the implementation of something new, and the players are going to be executing it. I think everyone in the room seems very understanding that it is going to take some time. So the hope is that October 7th doesn't look discombobulated and still figuring out, but I think the expectation might be we're going to have to live with some breakdowns and
growing pains,
some learning moments, some teaching moments systematically, not necessarily like, oh, it's a teaching moment because this player is just, getting used to the NHL. More or less like, well, in this system, that's a mistake. Like Korchinski was kind of talking about from the first preseason game where, my instinct was let this player go because we're running zone. No, wait, it's man-to-man. I got to stick with them. Stuff like that. So I think there'll be some challenges. But if you prepare yourself for them, you won't be surprised by them.
Right.
I want to address Grace's comment here regarding the 1985 Bears Super Bowl. She says that was almost 30 years before I was born. Grace, are you supposed to be in school right now? Like, what?
It's 3:30. She might be out.
I guess so. Yeah, that's true. That is, boy.
Well, thanks for watching, Grace.
I appreciate it, Grace.
We're glad we have a young audience.
Yeah.
I'm young.
I think we are
What about
probably...
Holly?
Oh, you're young.
Holly's like early 20s, mid-20s?
Yeah, I think so.
I was going to say, she's
I would
young.
say of all the CHGO shows, we skew the youngest demographic because we're so hip with the kids.
You guys
right.
do, actually. And I think you have the most women in your chat as well. We have
more
women hockey fans.
Yeah.
Look at
Same.
us.
And then I think either the Cubs has quite a few, we have a few women followers that are in every day, but you guys, I think, are close to that.
See? Look at us.
Just
More
the-
shirtless Kevin Korchinski content coming soon.
Our demographic for women is almost at 5%. So keep raising that percentage.
Almost at
5%?
5%?
Almost at 5%.
That needs to be higher.
So keep coming. Women in sports.
Hell yeah. All right, we're going to wrap things up. We are off tomorrow. Mario will be at practice covering practice. I'll be at Wrigley Field with Grandma Cookie. And then post-game Saturday and Sunday. So don't miss it. We'll have 2 more games overreact to this weekend. Can't wait. Thanks for being with us. Hit that like button on your way out. Donate to Big Brothers Big Sisters or become a big bbbs.org/allcity. Get involved. Give some money. Whatever it takes. We appreciate you. We'll talk to you tomorrow. No, Saturday after the Hawks game.
We all silly like the mayor.